Man, could you imagine having that job sitting there pumping fucking air into a moment?
Right. Imagine how strong your forearms and chest and stuff would be. Like, just boom, boom, boom. Like, yeah, it'd be brutal. How long have we fucking known each other? Aliens are real. Okay.
Of course aliens are.
What do you mean, of course? What do you mean, of course? Second was war stuff, especially World War II.
I like a good war documentary to keep my fucking IQ and my brain cells intact.
They do like it. It does charge them up a little. But yeah, there's an awful lot of shit talk. Speaking of which, we might just talk some shit today, if it's all right with you, buddy.
I'm good with that.
Well, listen, welcome everybody to the Ice Hour After Work podcast. Sure happy you're here with John and I again. We're in the East Side Job trailer again today. John, how are you, man?
I am fantastic. You'll have to forgive me because I'm chewing on them.
Yes.
Deer stick.
Yes, we got our venison back from the butcher, and we're just enjoying the first few tastes of deer sticks here. So pretty good, huh?
It's fucking fantastic.
Yeah, we like that butcher a lot. Shout out to the people at Patax in Prescott, Wisconsin. They charge a good price and they do a good job. God love them.
God, they really do a good job.
Yes, I will say it took them a hot minute to find my my antlers and my cape today, but they did eventually find it. There was a little touch and go there. My nerves were getting to me, but fortunately, they knew where it was at.
A little stressful.
Yeah, it happens, buddy.
Don't lose it.
No, please don't lose it. So before we go on, please remember, everybody, rate, review, and subscribe. Check out the Buy Us a Beer widget on our website if you want to support this little growing podcast. That's the easiest way to do it. And also, since I just said this one, we want this to be the year of guests going forward. If you're interested in being a guest, the Be a Guest tab is right on the website at isawpodcast.com. Check it out. Don't worry that you might not be interesting. Don't worry that you don't even work in the trades. We can get some good conversations at just about anybody. So we'll make that decision for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
What did I miss, buddy? Anything?
Nothing. You hit all the bases, dude. I love it.
All right, man. I've been practicing. You'd think, folks, that we'd write that down so our copy was the same every time, but for some reason we just never bothered.
Nah, fuck it.
That's why it's always a little different. So, man, something a little different today. I said you're interested. Look, man, I like an action movie, a good sci-fi, crime drama just as much as the next guy, but once in a while I start to feel a little dumb.
Uh-huh.
Just too much shit TV. So then I will turn and I will go on a binge of documentaries. Do you like a good documentary, man?
I do like a good documentary. I like realistic documentaries. I don't like annoying documentaries.
Well, we're going to get into all of it here, man. This is going to be, we're going to talk about some construction ones here, but obviously we'll fly off on some tangents about some other stuff.
Right. I never watch a construction.
So I do. I have to admit that I do, man. I
redact that. Like ancient building structure, stuff like that. I'll watch stuff like that.
Okay, but you won't watch any of the new shit?
No, fuck no.
Some new big build? No? Okay.
No.
We're going to get into that. That's perfectly good, man. Yep. Yeah, I mean, there's such a variety out there right now, man, because it's literally everything.
Right.
So much content now that's being actually produced, whether it's one streaming service or another. I find it incredible that they get enough viewers on all these different ideas and all these different subjects to keep all these series. And some of them have been going forever.
Right.
But starting off with so you don't like the new modern builds one. So like modern Marvels, that doesn't appeal to you at all. Extreme Engineering, those, you don't like those?
Well, modern Marvels, they're all reruns.
That's true.
I watched them all way back in the day.
That's true. That ended in 2015, but ran for 20 years.
Yeah.
That was a long program, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember that shit off the top of my head, folks. I got a list up here in front of me that I wanted to remember some of the important ones and then some of the unbelievably sucky ones.
Right.
What have you watched recently that you thought was interesting, man?
Ancient Egyptian documentaries.
Yep.
With the pyramids and the people and what they're finding and what they think they're finding and the excavations and stuff like that. I really kind of dig those.
All right, so I haven't seen that one. Do they keep it real scientific, or do they go off on the conspiracies of how is this possibly built, or is it real? Just
no, it's real straightforward. It's like this is realistically what it is. You know, they've dug down, they excavated down past all the old layers, and they found like a road to an old town that was thousands of years old. You know, stuff like that.
You did preface before we started this one saying that you and I were going to be very different here. Mm-hmm. That's a perfect example right off the bat because I haven't seen that, but I'm a big fan of the new one that's on Netflix, Ancient Apocalypse. That's the woo-woo conspiracy theory version of it. You haven't seen that? All right, so listen, for everybody who doesn't know, there's no real spoilers here. I believe the guy's name is Graham Hancock. He has this whole theory about this meteor belt or asteroid belt that we go through like twice a year. We kind of just like skim by it, and he thinks it's caused this ancient apocalypse way back, where there's actually cultures that existed before all of that.
Oh yeah.
That other people,
I've heard that.
Other people moved in or took on the culture or things like that, right? So this guy's a big proponent of that, and he even says he's an amateur archaeologist. He's not even like university trained or anything.
No.
But the guy spent his whole life doing it, and he makes some pretty compelling points.
Yeah.
So anyways, but yeah, it's the exact opposite of what you're talking about.
He's one of the guys that gets just pounded on by the science community. Right.
They hate him so much to the fact that he's got his second season of this Ancient Apocalypse on Netflix right now, and they've gone so far as to call him like a racist and a Nazi for two reasons that I can tell. One, they want to make anybody who's offering an alternate opinion look bad.
Yep.
And that's something I was going to bring up here with all the documentaries here in a minute. So this is just a good starting point.
Right.
They call him like a racist and a Nazi and stuff because they believe he's suggesting that the cultures, the indigenous cultures that are now, couldn't have created those things. It's actually something way, way, way older to try to make them look bad. When he's not saying, I'm not trying to say they didn't do it. I'm trying to say their ancestors from before
Way
this
back.
cataclysm did, right? Or whatever.
Right.
That one really makes me laugh. And then they'll talk about that he makes these wild assumptions and all this. Mm-hmm. They want to discredit the guy because if he turns out to be right, all the stuff they believed have been teaching all these years is wrong.
It's wrong.
And nobody wants to have that fight out.
No.
So anyways.
No, nobody wants, and especially the scientific community. I don't know, a lot of those people, they are so dead set on, no, this is exactly what it is. And I think it's for that exact reason. Be like, okay, they'll never admit they're wrong, because if they're wrong, that means everything needs to be rewritten.
Right.
And we just can't handle that.
Oh, right. And listen, and I'm paraphrasing here, and I'm not taking credit for this. This is from the original Men in Black movie.
Yeah.
1,000 years ago, the Earth was the center of the universe. 500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was flat. 200 years ago, nobody could have imagined flight.
Yep.
And you're telling me you know exactly what happened in all these things way back when because rocks and stuff? Come on,
Right.
you might be wrong.
Right.
Right.
No, and that's where I kind of lean into when, you get these documentaries that actually start explaining how the different rock formations are.
Right.
And like, this is this and this is this, but this part doesn't make sense because it shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
But it is.
Right.
So
before we fall down too far a rabbit hole on that side, I kind of brought that up when you mentioned it because that happens in some other ones that are out there too, right? Even with a lot of the construction ones.
Yeah.
Where you see one version of how they did something, or not even, sometimes it's not even about a new build, but they'll have like why this disaster happened, why this building collapsed, this ship didn't work, things like that.
Right.
You'll always see another one right beside it from the other point of view going, no, it was obviously a structural problem they should have known. And the other people going, no, it was just a terrible disaster. Like, they have that with murder docs, this Menendez thing now. So
God.
There's always those differing points of view. I try that if I watch one and enjoy it, to find the other side of a subject, if they have a documentary on it. And almost always there's the scientific version of one where they talk about this part of it and details and facts. And then the other one that's like the docudrama that's half cartoon reenactments and court case stuff to make the people look bad on the other side. It's like, oh, okay, what are we doing here?
Right. Well, there's got to be a side for everybody.
Well, that's it, right?
Yeah. I mean, otherwise they wouldn't sell.
Yeah. So you said you're not into too many of the construction ones. I just want to talk about, I got a list of the top 15 here, and I was curious how many of these you've actually seen, because a couple of them I have no idea what they are.
All right, shoot.
Right. I mean, extreme engineering, that's old.
I've watched a couple episodes.
Yeah, that one, I think that one ended in 2011, but ran for like 8 years. Like that one was pretty good. I tried to go back and watch like pieces of them from YouTube.
Yep.
It's a little dated now.
They were dry back in the day.
Yeah, they were trying to make it seem real scientific, just giving you like facts about this like tunnel they built. It's like,
It was written by an engineer.
And written by an engineer, right? And then we go right from there to modern marvels. Well, again, that ended a while ago, but 20 years, that was a good run. How It's Made is a huge favorite of mine, man.
I love How It's Made.
Yeah. Working in the construction industry, we probably don't learn anything other than some aha moments when we watch these things. Like, I can think of a real simple one, man. In retrospect, obviously, this is how they did it. I watched a whole half-an-hour episode about how they make gas cans, plastic gas cans.
Yeah.
Of course, it's just injection molding.
Right.
But how they figured it all out and the history of how they got from where they used to do it this way to... They used to actually have a baffled, like an old school iron worker. You know, the big fan that
the
bellows. Thank you.
Yeah.
The bellows to blow up those inside. That's why some of the old ones were like a
Weird
little
shaped.
wonky and weird. And sometimes there's like a thick part. The cover didn't work quite right because they used to just be physically as fast as they could when that stuff was warm, filling in a mold.
Man, could you imagine having that job sitting there pumping fucking air into a mold?
Right. Imagine how strong your forearms and chest and stuff would be. Like just boom, boom, boom. Like, yeah, it'd be brutal. Did you ever see any of those How It's Made that you liked?
Yeah, a lot of them.
Yeah. You think of one?
I really like the one they were talking about dump trucks and how the whole idea of a dump truck came about. And how...
You like these tangents? Go ahead, buddy. You're hesitating. Talk. People are either going to listen or they're not.
No, the dump truck one I found really, really interesting because they also focused on the mine dump trucks and how they differ from the dump trucks that you see rolling down the road.
Right.
You know, because there's no way that those mining dump trucks could ever.
They're not built for the road.
No.
No, they're not built for the road.
But no, that one I do remember I really, really liked. And then some of the stupid little ones, like how a pair of pliers.
Yeah.
How they make each piece and dip them and bullshit like that.
Listen,
I don't
folks,
know.
if you haven't seen any video come up on your feed for Instagram or the internet about them, like the machine that makes springs or paper clips or some shit, chain, it's really interesting. Like it's real simple machinery that they've been using the same thing forever. You look at it and go, oh, that's how they do it. Yeah, you mentioned the dump truck thing. I do remember one of those great How It's Mades where they were building fire engines, full-size fire engines.
Yeah.
They have them on an axle on either end. They just spin the bottom towards you so you can sit or stand at a comfortable position, put stuff in, do wiring, put in parts, then they'll flip it over to the top. Like they got to rotate it. It was amazing. Like, of course, that's so much easier.
Yep.
But somebody took the time to make, let's just make a whole contraption that picks the whole thing up. You just build it as it is. Like,
right.
Genius, right? Genius.
Yep.
And I should say this whole list came from letsbuild.com, which is normally a pretty good construction-ish related website.
Okay.
So then a couple I don't agree with it. How they do it is basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. That's a knockoff one, right? But again, that one's still going today.
Is
how
it
it's
really?
made. How it's made is too, by the way. Mega structures, nah. You said you don't like that kind of thing. Some of those interest me, but Mythbusters made this list. Engineering, I guess. You can't argue that, right?
Right.
Is it construction? They build things.
They build things. They blow a bunch of shit up.
Right.
I loved Mythbusters as they went, and I really wish that they would have been able to keep going. But
yes, I kind of did too. You see some spurts once in a while. They'll just do something together for nostalgia, and they'll throw it up on the internet still now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to admit, I wish I could think of her name off the top of my head. They had the assistants. They had two dudes, and then an Asian guy, still a dude, and then that redheaded lady or whatever.
Yep.
Oh, I used to have a little crush on her.
Did you?
I forget her name, but yeah, she was real cute. Every time a segment was with her, I was like, oh, I'm going to watch the rest of this one. Like,
I always liked that they blew shit up.
And then the ridiculous stuff, like could you make the wings of your airplane out of duct tape and fly it?
Right.
Man, how they ever got that guy to fly that? The money, the insurance they must have spent, or they just found some crazy guy that was like, sign here.
Right.
Yeah, what am I flying? That plane that we built with duct tape. He's like, wait, what? Like that guy's just like, all right, let's fucking do it.
Right. Dude, I remember the one you bring up duct tape. I remember the whole duct tape episode and that they actually hung a car with duct tape. Mm-hmm. They lifted a car with a crane and held it there with duct tape. I'm like,
it's got some tensile strength, obviously, right? Like, what do they call it? What did Red Green used to call it? Handyman secret weapon. Handyman secret weapon. Duct tape. All right, now we get into a couple that fall off for me. Maybe there's something that you're interested in.
Okay.
So you said no to mega structures. Now we get into one that from 2013 until present. Treehouse Masters.
Nope.
Get all the way fucked. I tried.
No, I have no fucking... Dude, there's no reason for that.
In the spirit of the episode, I started 3 episodes. I'm
what?
Like, what's this about? Man, 10 minutes in, I'm like, nah.
No.
Right? No, you're not building a treehouse. You're getting somebody to build you a cabin in a tree.
Right.
These people are spending $100,000. You got money to spend on 100. Fuck you. Fuck this whole show.
Yep.
I'm not watching it.
Yep. Get fucked.
So we'll move on from that one. So there was one here that's Egypt, Engineering and Empire. It was like 2006 or 2008. It just sort of started. I never saw that one. I tried to look it up. I couldn't find it. It doesn't say where it is.
Engineering and Empire. I think I actually watched that.
Yeah, so that one fell in like right in the middle of this list. So I'm going to try to find that one out. This is one that I think is a little strange on this list. And I said, this is from Let's Build. It's supposed to be a construction-related website. Precise Poetry.
What?
It's
Get fucked.
the name was dumb.
No.
Somebody named Lena Bobardi's Architecture. It was like a one-time 2-hour episode or whatever. Female architect. Guess did some really beautiful buildings or whatever. Seems like they threw this in here to be nice. I'm just saying, right? And then Mechanical Marvels. I mean, some of that stuff is interesting. Yep. And the 5 Master Houses of the World was kind of good.
Never seen that one.
All right. If you haven't seen that one, folks, I won't ruin it for you. It was all the way back in 2009, but if you got a pen handy, 5 Master Houses of the World was a very interesting. If you like construction and historical construction and stuff like that. And then it gets into a bunch of weird ones that I'm just not even going to mention that I never heard of.
Yeah.
So it seems to me there isn't a ton of like construction related ones.
I got so sick and tired of all the fucking documentaries that were running all like, I swear to God, there was like 7 or 8 of them. It was just hey, we're going to flip your house. And dude, look, I watched that and then I'm like, they're doing that in 2 weeks. Get fucked. Not happening.
Listen, dude, I had to do my DOT physical there, I don't know, a month ago maybe.
Yeah.
Got to get done every 2 years, make sure you're healthy enough to drive a company vehicle or whatever, right? As I was sitting in the waiting room waiting to get taken in for my physical, they had one of those two ladies who meet with the homeowners about the renovation and then decide if they're going to sell it or not.
Yeah.
Love it or leave it or something like that, right?
Yeah, leave it. Yeah.
Man, I went up and asked the lady behind the counter, can we mute that or change the station?
Right.
The voices, the talk. There's a market for it. It was on primetime TV in the middle of the day. People love it, right? But some stuff like that, yeah, construction, but nah.
No.
Property Brother, nah.
Yeah, Property Brothers. That's the one I was trying to think of.
That's not for me, right?
No.
But again, they're obviously super popular, right?
Right.
The ones that I find real interesting are when they talk about the old methods and materials and ways they used to do to make stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like some of those I find really fascinating, especially in our line of work. You'll see a guy cutting sheetrock, and all he's got is a sheetrock hammer, and he's cutting boxes out perfectly.
The hatchet.
Right, the little hatchet-looking thing, where the guy was slick. When he was just a real tradesman, no tape measure, no nothing, marking it out, putting an edge on it, just boom, ready to rock and roll. Straight lines by hand a lot of the time. Like I found all that stuff kind of cool. And then when they talk about, they'll compare something they're doing now. So like, if it's a big dam, if it's a big tunnel, I know you don't like the new ones. I find that shit fascinating. And they'll always talk about, well, this is how they used to make concrete. They cured over this, and then like
I don't mind those ones so much. Like when they're doing some cool shit. I don't like the ones that are all like, oh, we built this skyscraper and da 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 da. The buildings in Dubai and blah blah blah. No, get fucked.
We have an episode coming up soon about these, man. So I can see that whole episode just going to frustrate you. That's great.
and that's the thing too. Like there's an island in the Middle East. Well, there's a town in the Middle East. It could be Dubai. I don't fucking remember. But they hauled in a bunch of sand and they made their own islands.
It looks like a palm tree from above.
Several.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool that they're able to do that. But guess what's going to happen to all that sand and all those houses that are on that? The water's just going to take it back.
Eventually, right? They they have big buildings on there. I don't know if they have actual skyscrapers, but there's 20 and 30 story buildings for sure.
And they have hotels.
Yeah.
And big structures on these things. It's just like, keep hauling in the sand, folks.
All right. I'm going to write down a point right now that I'm going to mention on our episode about big builds, right? We've got one coming up about that. You talk. I don't want to forget to mention this later, okay?
Sure. So I can't get into crime dramas. I can't get into crime documentaries. I like crime shows like Law and Order, SVU. I get a kick out of some of those shows. But as far as like true crime documentaries, no, look, there's enough evil in the world. I know it exists. People are shitty. I don't need to be reminded on my TV about real life situations.
I'm in. We're going to get away from the construction stuff now. We're going to talk about documentaries. All right. We did our due diligence, folks. Now it's going to be just about regular. I find myself in a position where I have to watch a fair amount of those because my missus really enjoys them.
Okay.
I don't hate them. Those crime documentaries and then a couple other things I'm going to mention were kind of the reason I said earlier that you get to see a lot of multiple perspectives. Yeah. Because I've seen multiple ones about the Menendez brothers. I've seen multiple ones about the staircase, the guy who pushed his wife down the staircase. Instead, an owl attacked her, which, by the way, if you haven't seen that one, folks, the staircase is fucking crazy. But then there's so many others. And then, yeah, I do get stuck. I don't love them, but you learn a thing or two sometimes. And back to my original point we started, it's the getting away from the boob tube.
Right.
Yeah, you're still watching TV,
Right.
but at least you're trying to think, learn.
Right.
It usually prompts a discussion between my wife and I about whether we think the person is guilty. That lawyer's a piece of shit. That cop is crooked as fuck. I
Right.
try to at least enjoy those things about it. So,
And I can't get into those ones because it's just, I'm sitting there looking at it going, no, they're shitty fucking humans. They deserve exactly what they got. I don't fucking care what happened.
Like, make a great juror. Go ahead.
They murdered both their parents. No, fucking hang them. I don't care. Give them the needle, please.
Are you talking about the Menendez brothers
Yes.
specifically now? Okay,
Yes.
so unpopular opinion, maybe, man. Since we're talking about this, these are the exact kind of conversations that documentaries and stuff should bring up. When
Right.
facts are presented to you, right? You don't think it was a little justified considering it sounds like their old man was more than a bit inappropriate with them sexually and stuff?
No, absolutely. But the act was definitely justified on that point.
They've been in jail for 35 years.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, we could have saved a lot of taxpayer money. Needle.
So you're saying we should have zapped them years ago?
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, you got to move to Texas.
Yeah. And look, and it's, that old rule of fucking eye for an eye, right? Yes. Did his dad probably deserve it? Absolutely. Right? Did their mom deserve the same? Was she
Complicit?
Was she complicit, or was she just as much in fear of that man for her own well-being?
And this is why, thank God, I can't until I become a citizen, which is coming, folks, be on jury duty.
Right. Like, no, I don't think a part of me would like to think that, no, their mom didn't fucking deserve it. They took it a step too far. Then yes, give them the needle. 30 years for taking care of their dad for what he did, supposedly.
Allegedly, right?
He can't tell his side, but if he was, 30 years for that, that's a little aggressive.
And we're going to move on here in a sec, folks, I promise. But to that point, real quick, if you haven't watched any of this stuff, get out from under the rock you've been living in. The Menendez brothers are getting a new trial or whatever. Yeah. Also, man, maybe 35 years is enough.
Yeah.
Maybe they did their time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And there's other ones out there too, right? That are just like that one.
Right. Oh, lots. That's what I mean. Yeah. There's so much for a documentary.
But that's the problem, man, is my soul can't take that much fucking just here's all the evil that happens in this world. Hey, then you start looking at your neighbor like, could she?
Could I?
I don't know about them. They look funny. They're walking funny. What the hell is he doing standing out there staring at my fucking house? Oh, because I have a fucking limb down in my tree. He's
right. There is something to be said for going to bed, falling asleep, listening to some crime documentary about somebody who murdered like 18 people, right? That's never good for you.
Right.
Do you, is there any fun ones that you watch that you enjoy, like that you thought were hilarious?
No, not off the top of my head. Like I watch, I kind of like the Our Earth.
Yeah, so I was going to bring it up. So yeah,
documentary.
I enjoy a nature documentary for sure, right? Yeah,
I get a kick out of those. Some of those can actually be funny in a weird kind of fun
with
way.
one caveat. Okay, I enjoy a nature documentary, except Shark Week can take it flying.
Yeah, Shark Week can go straight to fucking hell.
It's too much for me, man. Enough with the sharks.
Commercialized.
Enough with the sharks.
Right.
I get it. They're dangerous.
Right.
Yeah. If they had a whole lion week, yeah, if you get near a lion, lion's going to fuck you up. Like, yeah, we get it. Sharks are dangerous. Oh, you want to show us that? And it used to be real impressive to see somebody get in that shark cage and go, man, they do it 50 times a day, all through Shark Week every year. That's not brave.
Dude, you know why people watch that, right? For the train wrecks. It's just like watching a NASCAR race.
Yeah, you want to see somebody get bit.
Yeah, you want to see a shark get in that cage with them.
Yeah, sure you do.
Because it happens.
Yeah.
And you want to see them get fucked
I'm
up.
glad you said it. Like, yeah,
That's why people watch
I think
that.
a lot of people are watching it for that. Yeah, they want to see that surfer.
I have never, and I can honestly say, never watched anything with Shark Week.
I did in the early days, but I learned quickly. So, I mean, yeah, so that's kind of an off-topic one there. But yeah, I like a good nature documentary. I said the Ancient Apocalypse one I mentioned earlier is fun because it's an out there, and it's the way it's presented. And this happens with a lot of docs.
Mm-hmm.
It's presented as the way they talk. They can almost convince you a little bit that it's plausible. Sure,
Yeah.
it is.
Anything's plausible.
Anything's plausible, right? All the answers are out there. You just got to know the right question to ask. And some people ask some wild questions. Once in a while, it turns out they're right.
I really get a giggle, really have a good time with the alien ones.
I love the alien ones.
Fuck. I'll sit there and watch those and just laugh.
Ancient Alien, the guy with the fucking hair.
Yeah.
That guy's great.
Yep. Love it.
Yeah. And it's hard to figure out if it's a shtick or not. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean?
And there are a lot of times you're watching him and you're like, he honestly believes exactly what he's saying.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Here's the crazy part. There's people out there who also believe exactly what he's saying.
yeah.
He goes to some of these woo-woo, spacey sci-fi conferences and stuff and signs autographs all day, and people want pictures with that guy.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking at him going, yeah, man, keep speaking the truth. Keep telling everybody about the government. And you look at those people going, oh, yeah, you people are out there. I forgot you people exist.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
And I will put it out there. I am one of those people that I very, very strongly believe, because there ain't no fucking way we're the only things that are out there living. Aliens are fucking there. Like,
All right, man. You want to have a tangent? I'll have a tangent.
Yeah.
That's fine. Pass that Four Roses over, will you, buddy?
absolutely. Here you go, man.
The official, unofficial bourbon of the I Shower After Work podcast.
Anybody works for Four Roses? Like, come on, sponsorship here.
We drink a bottle every week and we give it out to our guests. Come on, hook us the fuck up.
Right.
All right. Aliens, buddy. You want to go off on aliens for a minute? I'll go off on aliens.
Will you join me on that one?
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah, so like watching the alien documentaries, a lot of it, I'm like, yeah, of course aliens are fucking there. Like if you're naive enough to think that we're the only intelligent species in our entire universe that's made up of billions of stars, dude, climb out from underneath the fucking rock you're living in. We ain't that special. But no.
I hesitated there for a minute, man. What? Aliens
on.
are real.
Yes. Oh, don't tell me you're. Oh, fuck! I hate you.
How long have we fucking known each? Aliens are real. Okay.
Of course, aliens are.
What do you mean? Of course. What do you mean? Of course.
You can't seriously think that we're the only living creatures in the universe. I mean, come on.
Dude, we're not the only living creatures on this planet. Of course, I believe in living creatures, but what you're trying to tell,
intelligent species.
right? Okay, hold on. Let's find a common ground here real quick, so we're not going on completely different tacks. Do you believe they've been here, or that they theoretically, and air quotes, exist somewhere in the vast universe?
I can't get on 100% board that they've been here. I do like a good solid conspiracy. I don't mind the Roswell stuff. Listening to that, I'm like, you know what? If one crashed, I'm okay with that. But do I think that there is species out there that is intelligent enough to have the ability to actually get here? Absolutely. Why not?
Because there's absolutely no proof. That's why not.
Does there need to be? We wouldn't fucking know.
Right, dude. But see, that's the thing. I agree. If that happened, would they keep it quiet? If it were theoretically possible, would they do what they say they've done in Roswell and things like that? Sure, that's what the government would probably do.
Right.
But that's like saying a guy's a killer because he killed one time.
He is a killer.
Yeah, but maybe that was a bad analogy. I'm sorry.
Look, you build 1,000 bridges in your life and you suck one dick, you're a cocksucker.
Not a bridge filler. That's right. I have heard that saying before. That's good.
I forget what movie that's on.
I do too.
Yes.
I need something. Now, the mathematics of it that I've heard, I think it's called the Fermi paradox. One of the two. I think it's Fermi. Anyway, moving on. That says that given the mathematical size of the universe, and all that there should be countless other ones out there.
Yes.
I believe the math.
Yeah.
You can't put it in my hand. You can't show me. I have a hard time believing in something that fantastical. Aliens? Like,
what do you need? Do you need one to come knock on your freaking door? You ain't that important.
no, they're not going to show up at my door and go, "Hey, Jay, what's up, Canada? Like, what's going on, brother?
Let's have a chat.
We love the podcast. Like, we've been listening from fucking 30,000 light years from space." No, I don't need that. The availability of photos and video now, okay?
Right.
Think about, we've talked about this briefly in a really early episode. Every single year that passes now is more photos and videos than every other previous year combined.
Right.
Now, it'll slow down a little now that the camera phones have become very popular the last 10 years. But for a long time, every single year was more than every other previous year. That's the exponential growth of that.
Yeah.
Nobody ever got one on camera? Not a photo, not a video, nothing? Nothing.
Yeah, but any of that can be fucking scrubbed, right?
See, now we should just be doing a conspiracy theory episode again, part 2.
We don't own anything in any of our devices. I mean, come on, really.
No, nobody's saying that that's not true, right?
But there's been videos, but they're always shitty videos, I will agree. They're not ever clear. Ever.
We can get some pretty girl from England jumping rope in 4K on Instagram, putting up 5 videos a day, but you can't give me one that shows something that looks like not from this world.
I'll give you that one.
That's all I'm saying, buddy.
I'll give you that
There's
one.
an awful lot of good video out there every single day. Anyway, we'll move on from that. I didn't realize that. Okay, aliens possible. Good to know about you, John.
I have a really good time with the alien documentaries to get back on task here.
Right,
but
and part of it is, too, it is about what you enjoy. Yeah. So if you like an aliens one, good on you, buddy.
But it's just because it makes me laugh.
Yeah, I'm not saying that you believe. I'm not saying you're staunch standing out, waving at the sky, aliens come pick me up.
I can see the possibility.
Yeah, that's all. That's all good, right? So you're right, though. Moving on here. Also, one thing I thought about as we were getting ready for this one, there's a lot of older ones that the younger generation, let's say like 25 and younger, have no idea really even exist, probably, that were amazing at the time. So if you are under the age of 20, 25, you definitely don't remember unless you happen to trip over it. Supersize Me was huge back in the day. You remember Supersize Me?
I fucking hated it.
So for everybody who doesn't know, real quick recap, a perfectly healthy guy in shape, mid-30s, decided to see how bad McDonald's really was for you and ate McDonald's all 3 meals a day plus 1 snack for 1 month.
Now, I want to put a fucking on that. I hated that fucking documentary. One, the doctor told him to stop, right? To continue on with your point, describing the deal. The doctor ended up telling him, you have to stop or it's going to kill you. Right? And his medical tests showed it.
Yeah, spoiler alert, folks.
Right. That's how it fucking ends. But he didn't die. Don't worry. But the problem that I have with that is if I were to sit down with a box of cereal and eat nothing but that cereal every meal, every day for a month, it's going to kill me as well.
Right.
Like
he happened to pick McDonald's because they were such a big, easy access, brand name, low cost at the time.
Right.
Food source, right? That a lot of people were like.
Yeah, I've ate my fair share of McDonald's.
Yeah. Like if you do the math, and I didn't look it up, but I mean, I've looked this up years ago. I think the amount of burgers that they sell every day is equivalent to like a quarter of the world's population, or every year, pardon me.
Wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah, like I think just based on the numbers, if they average it out, I think according to their numbers, they feed a quarter of the population 1 meal every single year.
Right.
Like, that's a big number, man.
That is a big number, but it's stuff like that just really kind of drove me crazy with that whole fucking show, and it falls in the same line of, and forgive me, not important enough to remember the fucking name. Recent documentary about social media. Do you remember the name of that fucking show?
It'll dawn on me in a minute.
All right. Maybe we'll keep talking about it. If I text my wife, she'll fucking know it right off the top of her head, but I watched 15 minutes of that and shut it the fuck off.
Social Network.
Close.
All right. Something like that. We'll find it. Yeah.
Some shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, 15 minutes. I got so pissed off. Be like, yeah, social media is fucking horrible. Everybody knows this already.
Yeah. Tell me something I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. Also, Elvis, dead.
Yeah. Well,
or wait, but you believe in aliens. Maybe you believe Elvis is still alive. I don't know. I shouldn't be making no more assumptions about you.
Hey, man, Elvis, fucking...
maybe I should make no more assumptions about you. John Denver, alive and well. Kurt Cobain's alive and well.
They're just sitting... Michael Jackson, they're just hanging out together.
Right, for sure. I bet you they are.
They got called home.
Yes. Hey, nice callback to the Men in Black talk earlier. Excellent, man. Very good. So yeah, but I mean, some old ones like that. Obviously, Bowling for Columbine after that tragedy. Now, we have learned in subsequent years that Michael Moore, the original guy who used to do some of those big name documentaries, was a bit full of shit at times, edited things to look
a certain way.
That was obviously a tragedy, right? But
they all do that.
I think they kind of all do that, right? That's kind of what I was going to get at.
Yeah.
And I think that, I don't know, I think that at some point, and this just brings me to my next topic here, at some point it's been done, and the people who think they have a new take on something, so as an example, there are 100,000 Loch Ness Monster, Yeti, or Bigfoot.
Yep.
Obviously, Nazis, Hitler, any World War, but especially World War II. It seems, right? If you type in World War II documentaries on YouTube, man, you can't watch them all.
No,
they're coming out faster than you can even do it. And then they have ones that are exact the same as old ones, only they say colorized.
Yep.
That one really, I assume, is for older people who still remember when TVs were black and white, and then all of a sudden had color.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Wow, look how amazing it is! We used to watch all this footage in black and white." Okay,
right.
But I mean, you watch enough of those. You see the same footage. You see the same soldier and his buddy smoking a cigarette with their shirt off and their helmet on.
Yep.
Giving the peace.
Yep.
The
colorized ones is just that they're taking the old film and putting color to it, because a lot of the old film was shot in brown
and black and white and grayscale shit. Right? Yeah, for sure. But that one in particular it seems like one of the biggest ones, because right now I did a cursory search just to see what subjects were the most common. Yep. It was true crime came up. It was leading the league by a ton. Everything else was second and further. Second was war stuff, especially World War II.
I like a good war documentary.
I don't hate a good war documentary. I definitely do like them sometimes, right? Some of you learn a few new things, Yep. For some reason, I've always been really fascinated by submarines. So if it's one about the submarines, I'm like, I'm really into the submarines, right? Gotcha. I don't know why, but even like a submarine movie, even if it's a sucky movie, I'll watch a submarine movie.
I'm gonna say it's your connection with the ocean from back home.
Oh, it certainly probably is, right? Definitely. And
because those submarines were going right past your fucking house every day.
There was a lot of them up in the North Atlantic. We had some encounters up there over the years, I'm sure, if they opened up all the records, right? That is probably part of it. And also a little bit of just thinking in my own head, all the other nervousness they were dealing with at all times. And that thing could have collapsed at any moment. The just general day-to-day, every second bravery of, well, this thing could just fucking implode any minute. Like,
yep. Oh, what's that noise?
Man, PTSD. Like, how stressed for those guys when they hit land again? Like, falling down, kissing it, going, thank fuck. Made another trip, and that thing didn't fall apart like a beer can.
I've heard horror stories from guys that were in the Navy and in those subs. Like, when they dive, they creak and groan, and they're just sitting there going, okay, it's my time. It's my time.
Yeah, they just deal, right? Like, I heard an interesting fact years ago that I have since a lot of times shared with other people. I'm going to share it right now on the podcast, but I'm going to say in advance, now that I think about it, not 100% sure if it's true, but it could be. If we have any Canadian military members, especially Navy out there, reach out and let us know if I'm factually correct here. Years ago, at one point, so there's a giant mall in Edmonton called the West Edmonton Mall. And I think prior to the Mall of America, it was the biggest mall in North America. It was definitely the biggest in Canada years ago at the time, right? Still may be. And I guess they had a little water trench in some of the hallway, walkway areas where you could take like a submarine tour, a couple feet, 3 feet under the water or whatever. And when you went by a business, they'd have advertisements on the bottom, whatever. So they had 3 of those in the mall that you could take a little tour or whatever, right? I guess at the time the Canadian Navy only actually had 2 working submarines. So at one point the mall had 3. I don't know if it's true. I don't remember where I heard it, but I remember telling that story a bunch of times, and I wish I had looked up before we did this because I didn't know it was going to come into my head about whether that was even true.
Oh, I love that if that's true.
Yeah, no, it seems to me in retrospect Canada has a large portion of their armed services that's Navy. Yeah. Chances are they had more than 2.
Yeah.
But it sounded funny, and I think that's probably why I talked about it over the years. So
that's funny. No, and I like war documentaries. I had one story I got at those. I was watching one revolving. It was focused on...
John did mean involving when he said revolving.
Did I say revolving?
It's okay, buddy. I'm here for you, man.
It's been a day. No, involving. Well, I meant to say revolving around.
Yeah, my fault.
That's why I went that way. Revolving around Hamburger Hill.
Oh yeah.
Right. And I'm sitting there watching it, and my stepdad was in the war at that time.
Oh wow.
And he was there at Hamburger Hill. And he come up and he has PTSD. And he deals with it still to this day. And he walked up behind me, and then I saw him, and I'm like, shit, and I'm shutting it off as fast as I can because he can't watch those shows.
Oh, sure, yeah. No, he saw some of those exact scenes, right?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
And all he said, I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, are you good? And he's like, the only words that came out of his mouth was, they have no fucking idea what it was like. They didn't even get close.
Yeah, they saw footage.
Yeah.
Right.
He's like, it was so much worse than that.
Oh.
And then just walked away, and I'm just sitting there like, oh God.
Right. Yeah, I'm not going to bring the podcast down here, but just on a real quick side tangent, buddy. I thought in my youth that I had at least had a broad enough understanding of what people had to see and deal with and do in the military. Mm-hmm. And then a few years back, I saw a murder in the middle of the broad daylight in the day. I saw one singular murder. And now I know, pardon me, I have a little understanding of what they did. And at the same time, I have no idea what people going through those wars and things have ever gone through because they saw that all the time.
Yep.
So I got a better understanding and a clearer understanding in a flash of an eye.
Yep.
Blink of an eye is what an adult would say. Yeah. So on a more positive note, though, some of them are hilarious. I will watch, as I mentioned earlier. I don't hate a Loch Ness monster yet. I mean, they're not going to find it. It's the way it happens every time, right?
No.
But if I could give anybody a little piece of advice, information, Amazon Prime, Behind the Curve. I think I may have mentioned it briefly in our conspiracy theory episode.
Really?
It's only an hour and 25 minutes, give or take. No spoilers here, okay? Behind the Curve is a documentary following two of, at the time, sort of the leading people in the flat earther community.
Okay, yeah.
They had conferences and things like that. I call them the king and queen. It's one dude who, shocker, lives with his mom, and then another lady. And they're kind of the unofficial king and queen. They seem to be at a lot of the conferences when they show it in the documentary. And then a couple of different scientific experiments that groups are running to prove, air quotes, that the earth is flat.
Yep.
No spoilers here. Turns out they can't prove that.
Right.
But
they're having a real hard time.
But for an hour and 25 minutes of your life, if you want to feel like a smarter, better, more contributing member of society and realize that at least I'm not one of them, watch Behind the Curve. It's available on Amazon. It's about flat earthers. It is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I'm going to keep that on the docket for when I'm feeling real low.
No, dude. Some Sunday morning you wake up, you had a long night, you're feeling a little hungover or whatever, and you just want to perk your brain up and have a laugh. It is a riot.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, the things they believe. I mean, I'm not even going to ruin it for you by saying anything else. The first 5 minutes, one of the dudes makes a comparison of where he lives, and he's looking out his window at a city in the distance. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm going to say. If you don't listen to him give his explanation about why the earth is flat because of what he sees, turn it off right then, but I guarantee you're going to laugh and you're going to be hooked. It's only an hour and 25 minutes. Watch it on some Sunday morning.
Oh, absolutely.
Behind the Curve, Amazon Prime.
It's on my list.
Yeah, it's good. That's fine. So one thing I was curious about, though, and then we'll kind of wrap this up, buddy.
Yeah.
I've watched a lot of these, all right? Again, there's fun ones. That Behind the Curve is fun. Tiger King was fun.
I didn't watch it.
Dude.
I didn't watch it. I wanted to keep my fucking IQ and my brain cells intact.
It definitely made me dumber.
Yeah. I fucking heard so many people talking about it. No, fuck you. Like,
listen, for those of you who have watched it, you know why I'm laughing. For those of you that haven't, listen, I can't tell you enough. Yes, is it gonna make you a little dumber? Sure, it will. But so do a lot of comedy movies and things that make you laugh.
Right.
Dude, just to see that there are people out there like that.
Didn't he die?
No, he's in prison.
Oh, he's in prison.
Yeah,
okay.
There was talk about Trump was going to get him out or something. He was writing letters to Trump or whatever. He's in prison. It's all explained in the doc about why he ended up in prison. Tiger King, ones like that. For a mindless, I know I started this out by saying I'm watching the boob tube and I need something educational to try to fix my brain. Also, sometimes I will lean in that direction.
Just to veg out.
Right. Well, and it falls into the
down.
same thing. So listen, I'll admit, I was saying to John before we started recording today, I occasionally get caught up in what I call a girly show, even though they're not for girls, they're for boys and whatever. Some romantic. I got caught up in Bridgerton.
Yeah.
I got caught
That
up
was
in
my fault.
I got caught up in The Crown, The Empress. Like, you know, like I'll see it and I'm like, I'm not watching this. And then 3 episodes in, I was doing something on my phone. All of a sudden, I noticed my phone is down. I'm kind of paying attention, learn who's who. I'm not proud. Like, I'm not proud. I'll admit, I like kind of those, right?
Yeah.
But some of those dumb ones are also fun to just tune in, zone out.
Side tangent real quick.
Yeah.
Like when you brought up Bridgerton, I specifically remember you texting me after, because I suggested it to you and your wife, and you're like, thanks for roping me into that fucking show.
Yeah, listen. 5 years ago, me would have been real embarrassed. I wouldn't have admitted out loud, especially on the internet, that I watched that show. It's a pretty good show.
I actually really
It's
enjoy
something.
that show.
Listen, once in a while you need a break from explosions and stuff. Like I said in the intro, right? You need a break sometimes.
Well, and let's be perfectly honest. I'm okay with saying it here because I've said it to a lot of other people. Look, guys, if you want a fair possibility of getting laid, sit down and watch that show with your wife.
Hey, listen,
Or girlfriend.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's they do like it. It does charge them up a little. Hey, look, it's real side tangent here. Not a documentary. You familiar with the show Rome? Was on HBO.
Say that name again.
Rome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Used to have 2 episodes a week. Just put them on Sunday nights or Saturday afternoons or something. I don't remember what it was. It took me a long time to realize that I was consistently getting lucky those evenings until I put 2 and 2 together. I'm like, oh yeah, my missus was seeing all those rip dudes and their gear hanging out and stuff. Like, yeah, of course, that was lady porn. Like, okay, yeah, like I got it.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't take no hate on that. So real quick here, man, I just wanted to go through a list that I found that I wanted to see where we both fell. And then we'll wrap this whole thing up, and we appreciate everybody listening here. We just want to have a different, fun conversation here today.
Absolutely.
The amount of, from what I found here, this was from Rotten Tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
They consider themselves an editorial source, right?
Right.
Of the top 100 documentaries of all time, I'm going to real quickly burn through this list and see how many you've actually seen compared to me, because a lot of these, I had no idea they even existed.
Okay, I'm going to take a count as you're doing this.
Yeah, and I'm going to burn through ones that sound familiar, and I'll mention a couple that I know neither of us other watched.
Okay.
Trigger warning, folks. Haha, I say that to be funny because I don't give a fuck about trigger warnings. I'm going to say a couple of words here that are the titles of these, not words that I use in my personal life. All right, moving on. Have you seen Man on Wire?
No.
Okay, so it's about the guy who walks across the suspension bridge.
Yep.
Okay, I must admit, that was number 1. I have seen that. If you haven't seen that, whew, man, that's stressful watching that guy do that. I don't like stuff like that. I don't want to be stressed out by my TV, right?
Right.
Then we get into Summer of Soul.
Nope.
I Am Your Negro.
No.
Okay, so I had heard about this. I have to admit, hadn't watched it, but fell into number 3 on this list. I did see number 4. Did you see Fire of Love?
No.
Okay, so for everybody who didn't have this, real quick, 2 French lovers, basically, in a romantic relationship, who get caught in a volcanic explosion when they've got the suits on, they're trying to study it. Something terrible happens. It's all about that. That one's interesting.
No, I'll drop an IQ point maybe.
Yeah. Life Itself, the Roger Ebert one. Never saw that.
No.
Right? Yeah. And then you haven't seen Inside Job. Did you ever see Murder Ball?
Yes.
I never saw that one, but I had heard of it. That one
Yep.
was kind of high on the list here. That one fell in at 9. You saw Blackfish, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Blackfish, you haven't seen that one. It's about a quote-unquote evil orca. It's worth
Right.
watching. It's kind of an interesting one. I'm just going to keep burning through because I'll say, you haven't seen that. And then we get into stuff that you actually might have come across. So did you watch the one about Enron back in the day?
Yes.
Yeah, so that one fell high on the list. And then we get into stuff that is just completely out there. The Billie Eilish documentary, who I understand she's a popular
Pop star.
Right?
Yeah. No, I haven't seen that. Kids probably have. maybe?
Younger people, for sure. It was only in 2021, so it's fairly recent. Yeah. But somehow, even that recently fell into 32 on this list. I haven't seen anything about Elvis, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Prince, name 100 other gigantic, huge bands and singers from over the years that never made this list, and Billie Eilish is the first singer one I see.
So the person that made the list is 20 years old.
I would have to
19,
say,
maybe?
right? Well, and then 2 later, Amy Winehouse's comes up.
Yeah.
Right. Then we
Yeah.
get into stuff.
It's a Gen Z.
We mentioned Bowling for Columbine from 2002. That falls in pretty high here in the top 30s.
Yep.
This is one that I meant to bring up. Have you seen Food Inc.?
Yes.
Did that make you consider your position on eating meat? It didn't change my mind at all.
No, fuck no.
I hear so many people quote that one on why I won't eat meat from the grocery store or restaurant. That didn't bother me. Yeah, I knew what was going on.
I hear more about pork from that one.
I should say pork. Yeah, but meat in general.
Yeah,
Right? Like,
no, it didn't change my position. I still fucking animals get cold in the winter too. Bring them in, warm them up, put them on a plate. That's
right. Obviously, everybody saw March of the Penguins.
Yep.
Right.
That was cute.
Now, here's a question though. This is the defining line I realized through talking to friends and family over the year, because that one was big at the time when that came out. That was huge, right?
Yep.
Also, if you haven't seen March of the Penguins, it's pretty cute. It's about penguins. It's cute.
Yeah, it's cute.
That came down to whether you saw that in the theater or at home.
At home.
At home, okay.
Yeah.
I saw March of the Penguins in the theater.
You probably went to the IMAX theater for it.
I actually did see it in the IMAX theater, right? So we're not gonna go through all these folks, but we already mentioned Supersize Me. It falls in at like number 68. This is the last one I'm going to mention, maybe second last, because I think it's important for the people who don't know. Have you seen Grizzly Man?
Yes.
What did you think of that guy getting eaten by those bears? Spoiler alert, he gets eaten by the bears.
I think it's justified.
There's no real surprise here. No. So,
look, if you're going to spend that much time around wild bears, like, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to look like an awfully good fucking snack at some point.
Right. So Timothy Treadwell is the person that's in it. He goes up north. I don't remember exactly where. He lives with the bears for a long time. They have no problem with him being around. He very slowly gets himself comfortable. There's no spoilers here, folks. And it is a Werner Herzog documentary, who's an amazing filmmaker and documentarian. Like, he's great. Shocker. Once the bears get frustrated or annoyed or hungry, things change pretty quick, and they go south for him and his girlfriend real fast.
Yep.
It's what I've heard described as a unintentional comedy. Because if you don't listen, to the last 44 seconds of audio, give or take,
right,
which is just audio, by the way, you don't see what's happening on film in the last 44 seconds. It's hilarious that guy thinks it's going to be fine. Like, poor Timothy Treadwell, but
he honestly believed that he could do no wrong with those bears.
He thought he was good, right? So that gives us the other side of this documentary thing. Sometimes they're fun and hilarious, and other times it's like,
I just hadn't thought.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
I think we need to make a very short 30 to 45 second compilation of that movie and show to everybody that says that they'd rather be in the woods with a bear instead of a man.
Yes, good side note. We've seen that on the internet lately. I'd rather be in the woods with a bear instead of a man. Yeah, right. Yeah, 45 seconds. I can clip out 45 seconds. I might even try to do it for social media, folks. I don't know how good I am, but that might go. And real quick at the end here, the 2008 Tyson documentary is amazing, even though the new fight with Jake Paul was brutal. We're not going to get off on that topic. And then, obviously, one of the giant ones over the years was the 9/11 one.
Yeah.
This was one that was a lot back and forth on one side or the other.
Oh, it went back and forth a lot. Was it a conspiracy?
Was it a blame? Those ones, you can watch 50 of those and get 48 different answers.
Right.
So it is what it is, right?
Right.
But point being is, man, I like the varied options out there when I want something a little more stimulating than explosions or guns or dragons.
Right.
Right. So I like a good documentary. I think it's real funny that you and I were kind of at different points on this. I didn't realize it was going to go that way. And I got to admit, you're going to take some comments over the next 6 to 8 weeks about aliens, because I really didn't realize that was the case, man.
Wow.
I would like to thank everybody for listening to the I Shower After Work podcast again this week. Am I missing anything, my friend? What do we want to tell everybody?
Well, the important part is like we said at the beginning, we'll say it again. One, thanks for listening this long. If you've made it this far into this and you still enjoy it, rate, review, subscribe, share, let everybody know, and just take a minute to let us know. Shoot us a comment on Instagram on the episode. Let us know what you think. Let us know how you're doing. And if you got any cool ideas for some episodes and stuff like that, we're always open for. We'll talk about anything, as you can tell.
Right, and we've had some creative comments that were 1 or 2 words. So if you have a creative comment that's 1 word, be interesting, be entertaining. Try to think of a good word. Open up your thesaurus if you got to.
Yeah.
But the 1-word comments have been funny. Sometimes they're real simple, like "Great, thanks, keep it up." Something simple. I know that's not 1 word, but yeah. Then other ones like "Don't get it," "Sucks," like whatever you need to say. Just 1 word or 2 is perfectly fun for us.
Right.
Thank you, everybody. We really appreciate you listening. And until next week, your work keeps the world working, my friend.
Sláinte.
Sláinte. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.